So, in early 2026, after a break that felt like forever, the music group BTS came back. And what happened next? Well, it wasn't just a comeback. It was a full-blown global event. Today, we're going to break down exactly how their historic return unfolded and what it all means. And I'm not exaggerating here. It was a total meltdown. Social media, news sites, streaming charts, everything was just completely flooded by this one single thing. It really felt like, for a moment, the entire world stopped to pay attention. And right at the heart of this whole thing was this one number, 18.4 million. Just kind of let that sink in for a second. But what in the world does that number even represent? That's right, over 18 million people from literally every corner of the globe, all tuned in at the same time to watch one concert. This was so much more than a music event. It was a massive cultural moment. So the big question is, how did this even happen? Well, it all comes down to this perfectly planned, multi-stage return that was literally years in the making. Let's really get into the different parts that made this work. Okay, so this was not a slow burn. Not at all. It was a rapid-fire series of huge events. And the order here was just brilliant. See, by dropping a full album first, they made it all about the art. Then, right when that excitement was peaking, they brought back their fan-favorite show. And almost right after that, a massive world tour. Each step just fueled the next one, creating this incredible wave of energy. And here is the piece of context that changes everything. This comeback was the first time all 7 members were back together after finishing their mandatory military service in South Korea. You can't overstate the anticipation that had been building for years. So let's start with what was maybe the most personal part of this comeback for the fans. Their reunion on screen for the premiere of Run BTS 2.0. Now, if you're not familiar with Run BTS, let me tell you, it's not your typical polished TV show. It's famous for being completely unscripted. It's just the members playing games and being themselves. Fans absolutely love it because it shows their real personalities and what everyone calls their chaotic chemistry. And this is where you hear this term that is so important to the fandom, OT7. It stands for One True 7, and it's all about celebrating those precious moments when all 7 guys are together. After years apart, seeing an OT7 reunion in this format, well, it was incredibly powerful for their audience. And this quote just perfectly captures the show's vibe. In that first episode back, they were all brainstorming ideas for the new season, and SUGA just deadpans, "How about I just play guitar for 3 hours?" It's exactly that kind of spontaneous, funny dynamic that everyone had been missing. All right, now let's get to the artistic heart of the comeback, their brand new album, Arirang. This was a huge deal, their first album as a full group in almost 4 years. It's called Arirang, named after this famous Korean folk song about resilience, which is so fitting. The album itself mixes their signature sound with traditional Korean instruments, and the title track, Swim, immediately became this huge anthem about getting through tough times. You can see how that theme connects to their own story, right? But what's really incredible is the sheer amount of work that went into crafting this album. And honestly, it's best summed up by this one number. So, according to the members themselves, they listened to over 100 demo songs together just to pick the final 14 that made the cut. I mean, think about that. This wasn't just a random collection of songs. It was this deeply personal project that really reflected their journey back to each other. Okay, so the show is back, the album is a smash hit. What's the final piece of the puzzle? You gotta take this reunion to the world stage. And that's exactly what they did. The Arirang World Tour kicked off with instantly sold-out shows in South Korea. And that brings us back to that mind-blowing number from the beginning. That first concert livestream pulled in 18.4 million viewers. It was all the proof anyone needed. The BTS effect, their massive cultural and economic impact, wasn't just back. It was bigger and stronger than ever before. So when you put all these pieces together, the show, the album, the tour, what does it all really mean? Why is this comeback so important, beyond just the huge numbers? Let's be real. Before the hiatus, BTS was already a global phenomenon. We all knew that. They had this massive, dedicated fan base. But after they came back, they started breaking their own records. It proved that their connection with their audience hadn't just survived the break, it had actually gotten stronger, deeper, and more intense while they were away.
You know, the conventional wisdom in the music industry has always been that a multi-year break, especially one that's mandatory, is a career killer. But BTS just threw that whole idea out the window. They proved that for an artist with a true connection to their fans, a hiatus can actually be an incubator for even bigger things. They've totally set a new standard. They didn't just pick up where they left off. They started on a completely different level, which leaves all of us with one final huge question. After a return this monumental, what new standards will they set next? And how are they going to redefine the future of global pop?